The journey into Black Forest began 1 year ago, in September 2021. For the game's anniversary, let me take you on a short journey back to where it all began. It might surprise you. This is the oldest screenshot I have of the game. Placeholder art clearly, but soon replaced by the first models. You can also see that the basic user interface and map layout appeared very early. Not long after, with a few more models and tweaks, the game is already recognizable, isn't it? Even day and night and the ghostly image of buildings to be placed were quite early developments. At the time the second map, Andraville, was added, most of the user interface and core gameplay was in place. The basic game had come into existence. Then further maps like Hellhafen or Karenfang appeared. Each had a different take on the gameplay and new challenges. The game also started to have some exposure on social media and Steam and gained more players. With the 1.3 release, I added the Siegwald map, the first one where the playing area wasn't entirely flat, adding terrain and height levels to the challenges. And a while later, Friedmarkt followed, which introduced the marketplace as a new building that can change the gameplay considerably. We also had a nice April Fool's joke with a fake FPS mode. In release 1.5, I added Coburg and Refugee Camp, two maps with a new vegetation system that brings grass and bushes and even dynamic foliage, grass is cleared around buildings, to the game, at the price of some performance. The forest itself is also a lot more dense and varied, which gives the maps much better backdrops and distance views. And then, in 1.6 and 1.7, two huge additions were made. Story mode. With full dialogue trees, quests and unique challenges, this campaign mode for the game not only expands gameplay to much longer times, but also changes the dynamics. Even which buildings are available can depend on your choices and quest progression. The other addition was the doomed difficulty setting. Some hardcore fans complained that the game is too easy. Well, no more. Doomed really is hard. Just take a look at the leaderboards for the doomed levels. At the time I record this, they all have just a handful of entries, so very few people have ever managed to win them. By contrast, the most played map has almost 2,000 leaderboard entries. So now we are up to 1.8, and there are more incredible updates. Procedural houses are probably the biggest one, and let me tell you, this was a huge one. In fact, I made a whole other video about it. In the game, it required me to rewrite parts of the building handling and construction code, as well as numerous smaller bits and pieces. But it's so worth it. It's just amazing to see a unique, organic village. I'm also working on a second DLC, which will deliver more content. As you know, the game itself is free, but I still have expenses, and sometimes I want to have a treat for all the time I put into it, so there's the Cosmetics DLC, which you can buy simply to support me, or the Patreon you can join. But soon there will also be a DLC with more maps and stories for those who enjoy the game and want more of it. Finally, I offered a surprise, so here it is. Did you know that Black Forest actually did not start in 2021, but in 2016? This first version of the game was a multiplayer game where up to 20 families competed to be the last survivor in the village, each player controlling one family. It was inspired by the browser game Die Tonight. The graphics and other pieces were more rudimentary, as my assets library and my skills were not where they are today. Nevertheless, the game was fun for a while, but for a small indie game it was difficult to fill up games with 20 people, so after a while I buried it. The core gameplay was similar: build defenses, harvest food, survive the night. It worked well and was great to play, so I always wanted to give it another try, and then in 2021 that is what I did. Only as a single player game with better graphics, and the result is what you see today. Fun fact: the map Hellhafen is a tribute to one especially great game in the 2016 version. So that was our short journey down memory lane. Happy anniversary, Black Forest. Now go, Update the game and make a new high score on a level you haven't tried much. Welcome to the 1.8 release.